Alright guys, welcome everybody to Can We Make Impact Wrestling, the #1 promotion in Total Extreme Wrestling 2013. My name is the Mayor, Jason Smith. As you can see, we are entering August 2019 as the owner and head booker of Impact Wrestling. I also have on in the background WWE Monday Night Raw going on. There is a 10-man battle royal to determine Brock Lesnar's next opponent. Also, during this one, we'll kind of chime in with some of the things we see during Raw. We'll also talk about the history, the very short history of the Impact /NWA /GFW X Division Championship. A very interesting division that is sort of a strange offshoot of the cruiserweight type divisions that were so popular. And so, with that, we will get started Monday, week 1, August 2019. We have TV tapings on Thursday. We are coming off of a very successful pay-per-view in our one-night-only show for July. Had a B- rating. Down in Puerto Rico, we got a 1.35 buy rate, and the match of the night was probably either Marty Scurll versus Jay White or, the Lucha Bros against OVE to retain the World Tag Team title. So it's been a minute since we've live streamed, which I think our last stream was on Friday of last week when I announced that I was changing jobs, so I wasn't going to be streaming in the mornings. I now stream later in the evening when I can, between my new job and school and things like that, so I'm going to definitely be checking in as best I can. So to recap where we're at, we've got the title pictures right now. The Impact Grand Championship is here. Not much happening with it. I've debated between doing a couple different things like a battle royal. I've debated about a tournament. So we'll kind of see how we decide we want to do that. If we want to stretch it out over the next 4 weeks and have a tournament to determine the grand champion, and then have the final of that tournament be at the one-night-only pay-per-view in August. Our Impact Knockouts /Women's Champion is Tessa Blanchard. She defeated Taya Valkyrie at the pay-per-view. We also have, of course, Gail Kim, who she's a 5-time champion. Angelina Love is a 6-time champion. It's crazy. Sami Callihan defeated Johnny Impact, also at the pay-per-view, to become the new Impact World Champion. We also have the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix and Pentagon Jr. as the Impact World Tag Team Champions. And lastly, we have Will Ospreay, who has obtained and defended the Impact X Division championship, I guess I should say. So today, not much going on. We had our TV taping Thursday of last week. We're making our way towards Thursday of this week for another TV taping. We took a loss in July, but not as significant as I was anticipating, given the fact that we spent a ton of money bringing in new talent to the roster. So we were pretty set there, following our pretty solid July. And so we'll move on to Tuesday of week 1. Hopefully there's no surprises here. So I want to talk about, as I go to grab my phone charger, because I'm not a professional at this, and we'll get up and walk away from the microphone. the Impact X Division Championship. So this is going to be kind of a quick one in terms of the history of Impact Wrestling. We've talked about the Impact as a promotion, the history of it. We've talked about Impact Wrestling's tag team division. We've talked about the Impact Championship, the World Championship for Impact, and its lineage, tracing it back all the way to the NWA Championship. So the X Division Championship started in 2002 with the quote-unquote NWA X Division Championship. So when this title first started, the X Division, if you will, the title was actually how do I want to? It was suspended above the ring with two crossing wires, and the way to win the match was similar to a ladder match, except that you had to basically climb the turnbuckle, grab this cable, and sort of shimmy yourself, or hand over hand, or however you wanted to do it, to the championship, come down with the title in hand, feet on the mat to win. They have since sort of adjusted that so that that aspect of it is no longer a thing, which is probably a good thing, because it looked like it wasn't very safe in terms of just the risk that needs to be taken to go hand over hand, and the falls that can happen, things like that. So we'll look at we'll start things off 2002 with the NWA X Division Championship, which then evolved into the NWA TNA X Division Championship. The very first X Division champion was AJ Styles, of all people. AJ won in a four-way double elimination match against Low Key, Jerry Lynn, and Psychosis, and those are three names that you'll hear. Well, two of the three names that you'll hear a lot of: Low Key and Jerry Lynn. AJ Styles is another name that you'll hear quite a bit in this list as we go on. So AJ was the first champion. He held it for 49 days. And so we'll get to the rest of the title lineage here going forward in just a moment, because it's time for us to take a look at our Tuesday. And it looks like All Japan lost their B show, the All Japan B banquet. You also had Adam Cole being called up to the main roster in WWE. Mike Bennett, or Mike Kanellis as he's known in WWE circles, got hurt. Fully ruptured supraspinatus. I don't know what a supraspinatus is. Let's find out. Supraspinatus. It's a tendon in the upper back that runs from the supraspinatus fossa superior portion of the shoulder blade to the greater tubercle of the humerus. It is one of four rotator cuff muscles and also abducts the arm at the shoulder. Okay, so it's basically part of your rotator cuff. I don't know why they didn't just say that. It seems like I don't really need to be a medical doctor to figure out what the hell's wrong with these guys. Okada's got a storyline in Dragon Gate. We've got a couple other storylines going on. WWE main event went down. WWE Raw went down. We've got nothing happening today, so we're going to move on to our next day. Continue talking about the X Division Championship. AJ, the first X Division champion. Low Key, actually, was the second X Division Championship, beating Jerry Lynn and AJ Styles. Jerry Lynn would then take it from Low Key after about 2 weeks with AJ Styles, Jerry Lynn, and Low Key. Then along comes Sean Waltman. So Jerry Lynn got hurt and had to vacate the title, and you had this huge ladder match for the title Kid Cash, Tony Mamaluke, the SAT, Ace Steel, AJ Styles, and Six Pac, Sean Waltman. And Waltman ended up winning it, held it for a couple of weeks, then AJ, and then Jerry Lynn, and then Sonny Siaki, and Kid Cash, and Amazing Red, and Chris Sabin. I mean, the title, nobody really held the title for more than probably 60 days, with the exception of, of Sonny Siaki, who held it for 63 days. And then following this rash in early April of just titles changing hands left, right, and sideways, Chris Sabin held the title for 98 days and sort of settled the championship down a little bit. Held it until August when Matt Bentley, who went by Michael Shane in TNA and is Shawn Michaels' cousin, won the title. And then Chris Sabin won it back and held it for 184 days. So up to that point, now we're in early 2004, Mike Shane held the title the longest in its 2-year history at 140 days. So this title was very, very volatile heading into 2004. And really, it's always been more of a traditionally volatile title in terms of the very short length of title reigns for people. So this stretch right here, where the title flipped between Chris Sabin, Michael Shane, and Kazarian, is probably the longest prolonged title runs. So Sabin had it for 98 days, Mike Shane had it for 140, Sabin had it for 84, and then Kazarian held it for 70. And then AJ won it back yet again. Then it sort of flip-flopped around for a little bit until we got to August of 2004 when Petey Williams picked up the title and held it, setting the new record for the longest reign at 158 days before he ended up losing it to AJ Styles at the start of 2005. So I think we'll pause right there with AJ Styles. Let's see, he's got 1, 2, 3. This would be his 4th championship, his 4th reign as X Division champion. So we'll pause right there as we get into Wednesday of week 1. So we're a day away from our TV taping. And not really much going on here. So we will advance to Thursday and our TV taping. So following AJ Styles' 4th title reign, you saw the immersion of Christopher Daniels come along. Then AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Chris Daniels again, Joe again, back to that very volatile work. Then you had a run by Low Key, who also went by Senshi at this time. This is when he went through that whole Senshi angle in 2006. He held it for 125 days before he gave it back up for Chris Sabin's 3rd title run, which was basically 2 days before AJ Styles won it at an Impact taping for the 6th time. He wouldn't hold it very long, and then Chris Daniels would take it back for his 3rd run. Chris Sabin got his 3rd run. 2007 also saw Jay Lethal and Kurt Angle get their first ever X Division championships as well. Kurt Angle, with winning the X Division championship in 2007, became the first TNA Triple Crown winner. Or not Triple Crown, but Grand Slam champion. He had the TNA World Tag Team Championships. He had the World title. He had the X Division title. At the time, the Grand Championship didn't exist. So, yeah, he held all of them in TNA's history. He also was the first person to hold all of the championships at the same time. This was during his really phenomenal 2007. Kurt Angle just tore it up. He held it for about a month, and then he gave it up to Jay Lethal for his 2nd title run. And then Jay Lethal would lose the title to Hotshot Johnny Devine, and then he and Lethal would battle back and forth. You had Sean Devari win the title. He had a different name in TNA. Consequences Creed was also involved quite a bit in the X Division Championship. Chris Sabin, Alex Shelley, Eric Young. He had a lot of that going on. Suicide, Manic, right here, won the title as well. Technically, the first title reign for Suicide, but it actually turned out to be Chris Daniels under the mask. And then when Kazarian came back, he took over the character. So, I mean, you could really say it was Daniels' 4th title reign, or Frankie Kazarian's third title reign. But really, if you look in the history of Impact Wrestling, Suicide's title reign counts as the character Suicide and not any specific person under the mask. You also saw Homicide come along during this time as well in 2009, and he would become X Division champion for a little while. Samoa Joe had another run. Amazing Red had another run. And then Douglas Williams came along. Doug Williams, the English wrestler, won his first X Division championship. So they did this really stupid thing. They stripped Doug Williams of the title because of the Iceland volcanoes. Yeah, it's stupid, right? They said he couldn't defend his title because he couldn't travel to the U.S. because of the volcano, so they stripped him of his title. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But then they gave the title to Kazarian, and we'll pick it up there after we get through our TV taping. We'll finish up. Really, all in all, you're going to see a lot of names that pass through TNA. Might as well just finish it out here because there's a long way to go, and we are at our TV taping. So, Robbie E., Jay Lethal, Abyss, Brian Kendrick, Austin Aries won it for the first time in 2011. Actually, on September 11th, 2011, at No Surrender, he would take home the title. And if I remember correctly, Austin's title run here, his first, lasted for 301 days. And this also was the first time that an Impact X Division champion could vacate the title in exchange for a championship match against the heavyweight champion. So that's something to keep in mind as we continue to book Impact Wrestling. You also had RVD win it, Kenny King, Zema Ion, Chris Sabin was the second person to cash in the X Division Championship in exchange for an opportunity to wrestle. You had the Suicide/Manic character get its second win. This time, under the mask, was TJ Perkins back in 2013. You had Chris Sabin also in 2013 win his 7th and 8th X Division championships. Austin Aries picked it up for the 5th time and became the 3rd person to vacate for a shot at the heavyweight championship. Samoa Joe then won the title, who then got hurt. And then you saw low-key Austin Aries battle back and forth. Rockstar Spud got his first X Division championship in 2015. He would then lose it to Kenny King and then get it back a couple of months later. And then he would willingly vacate for a chance at the championship. You also saw the evolution of the King of the Mountain championship. Really stupid championship. Didn't last long. And then in 2016, You had a stretch of first-time winners: Trevor Lee, Eddie Edwards, Mike Bennett, Lashley won it for the first time. He then decided, since he held the King of the Mountain Championship, the World Heavyweight Championship, and the X Division Championship, they unified the King of the Mountain and World Heavyweight titles and then vacated the X Division Championship, which allowed DJ Z to get his second Impact Championship. He was Zema Ion the first time around. Other notable first-time winners right around the 2016-2017, Sanjay Dutt, Matt Sydal won it at an event. Taiji Ishimori won it. Brian Cage has held it. And he, again, was another one who vacated the title in exchange for a championship match against Johnny Impact this time. And then Rich Swann, who won it for the first time back in January, and he's held the title ever since. Chris Sabin holds the record with 8 X Division Championship reigns. If you want to look at combined days for reigns, Chris Sabin also holds that record by about 60 days over Austin Aries, and there's a pretty good chance Austin Aries will never be back in Impact Wrestling ever again. And this is something we talked about in previous, where he held the Impact Championship, was supposed to lose it to Johnny Impact. He did the favor, he did the job, he did the work, and he put Johnny Impact over, but he no-sold the finish. After the 3 was counted and the bell rang, he got up and walked out. Not cool. Not cool. So, safe to say he's not going to be back in Impact anytime soon. But you also had notable champions, guys like Austin Aries, as we mentioned, Jay Lethal, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian from SCU, Trevor Lee, who's in WWE now, Manic/Suicide, TJP, Under the Mask there, Rockstar Spud, who is Drake Maverick now, in WWE circles, Jerry Lynn, who wrestled for WCW, ECW, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. He's been everywhere. He's very, very underrated, is Jerry Lynn. You also had Michael Shane, Brian Cage, RVD, Matt Sydal, who wrestled in WWE for a time as well. Sonata, Seiya Sonata, has also held this title. We didn't really mention him except in passing. 205 Live star Brian Kendrick, the Brian Kendrick, held the title. Abyss has held it. Lashley's held it. Kurt Angle has held it. Mike Bennett, Eric Young, and Sean Waltman have all held that title. So that wraps up the X Division Championship, and we'll get back to our game here, as we kind of ran through that pretty quick. You've got we've got some new teams being formed. Mia Yim and Jesse Elaban. You had NXT taping. Caesar Bononi, the star performance of the show, and we've got a big looks like tag team matchup with the Usos and Ricochet against Bobby Roode and the Revival. Okay. All right then. Interesting. Seems like they would continue that Ricochet AJ Styles feud using the club, but whatever. I'm not the booker. I'm sure this will make sense. The death of Lucha Underground. After weeks of low ratings, Unimas has removed Lucha Underground from their schedules. Now, Lucha Underground only has the one show, and if they lose their TV taping, that could be a death knell for them, which could be a boon for us, because should they find themselves in a position where they are hurting for cash, we could buy them out, or we could use them as a developmental territory to get some of the talent that they have to come to us. Guys like Jake Strong, which most of these guys that they have on their roster are on paper appearance anyway, so if we really wanted them, we could just go get them. But I almost wonder if maybe they would be more open to a working partnership, because as we see here, they also lost El Rey, but they're not in a bad enough position yet to go under to where we could buy them out. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Lucha Underground as a promotion. And when you tour their company, you can see they have no TV, no pay-per-view, so they're going to be out of luck here pretty soon if they can't land themselves a TV deal. They're the number 13 ranked promotion in the world, the 12th richest company, but that's going to slide fast with no TV and no pay-per-view. So they're going to have to do something quick. And we'll keep an eye on that as well. And there's also Ice Ribbon, lost one of their TV deals, so they have no TV deal and no pay-per-view. They have limited finances and a roster. This is a women's Japanese wrestling promotion. And there's some pretty interesting names. I think if you go down the list, Tsukushi, Cherry, Ao Kazuki, you've got Bomber Saito. I thought I saw another name in here that I recognized. Yuka. Sayuri. So there's a couple of names in there. I bet if we bought this out, we could probably... I bet they would... No, maybe not. Okay, well... I thought they might be open to us buying them out, but maybe we'll look at some company relationships with Ice Ribbon here and see if they would be interested in us becoming their parent company. Also, I want to look at what Lucha Underground may want to do. If we want to approach them as being their parent company as well. We have a decision from Dave Christ. So we're going to get him on a written deal exclusive to us. Now we can go into our TV taping, and if we look at our history from last week, we can see we had a C+ show, pretty solid. Basically just had a couple of things that we looked at. Will Ospreay has the X Division title. Sami Callihan defeated Bully Ray. The Lucha Brothers defeated the Briscoe Brothers. So there's a lot of things going on here that we're going to look at from a booking standpoint. I want to start getting the Grand Championship going here, and if we start it this week, our pay-per-view schedule for August, Sunday week 3. So we would have Thursday week 1, Thursday week 2, and then we have our pay-per-view. So we have 2 weeks of TV before we get to the pay-per-view, which means we can do a quarterfinals and a semifinals over the next 2 weeks, leading to a final for the Impact Grand Championship. Now, this is how they used to do this. It was quarterfinals, semifinals, final. You had 8 wrestlers going at it, and they did like these rounds, and they were judged, and you couldn't... wins could happen via pin or submission, but if there was no winner after the 3-minute rounds or a 5-minute round, then it went to a decision, like with judges. It was really, really unique. But we'll talk about that portion of it in another episode. But if we're going to kick off the show, we're going to get the tournament going. And let's see, I think I'll move my microphone out of the way here. Never mind. Okay, so we are at the Al McGuire Center in the Great Lakes region. That's a pretty good region for us. let's see here. So who do we need? 8 wrestlers. So that's going to be 4 matches. We'll run them 15 minutes each, which is going to put us at an hour. So let's see what we're going to do here in terms of our tournament. So they're all going to be one-on-one matches. We know that. The women's division's not in it. The occasional wrestlers are out. So we want to make sure we're using guys that aren't involved in the tag team division and also aren't involved with the World Championship or the X Division title, which we can move guys around if they're not really in our long-term plans. That's fine, but if they're, we can shift them to the Grand Championship side of things. So the first one I definitely want in the Impact Grand Championship tournament is Alex Shelley. I might actually have him win it. I'm not sure yet. Let's see, who else can we throw in here? I don't want to do enhancement talent or openers. Really, I kind of want to take the lower mids out, but I think we're handcuffing ourselves if we take them out. Marty Skrull, I want him in the tournament as well. Let's see here. Who else? Who else? Who else? Who else can we use? Let's do Zack Sabre. I like Zack in this tournament. And let's put Matt Taven in it. I like the idea of Matt Taven competing with some of the big boys. Let's see here. Let's see. Eli Drake, definitely want to have him in here. Let's go with TK O'Ryan too. Why not? I don't really have a ton of booking plans for him either. Let's see, who else can we roll with? Let's do Dave Finlay. I got 6, so I need 2 more. Let's go Dave Finlay and Dalton Castle. There we go. Okay. So, Alex Shelley is an upper mid-card guy. Oops. Marty Skrull is a main eventer. Zack Sabre is a mid-card guy. Matt Taven is a lower mid-card guy. Eli Drake is a mid-card guy. TK O'Ryan, I think, is a mid-carder. Yes, he is. Mid-card guy. David Finlay, I think, is lower mid. And Dalton Castle is a mid-card guy. Hooray. So, we've got 1 main eventer, 1 upper mid-card guy, 2, 3, 4 mid-carders, and 2 lower mid-card guys. So, we are going to put, ideally you'd like to set it up to where you put Alex Shelley on one end, Marty Skrull on the other, and you let them go nuts. So we're going to go with Marty Skrull is going to be at the top of our bracket. And we'll put him against one of the lower mid-card guys in David Finlay. Then we've got at the other end of our bracket, we will put Alex Shelley. We'll do 1 and 8. This is really testing my knowledge on how to do an 8-person bracket. What people go where? Okay, so it's 1 8 4 5 3 6 2 7. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the 2 seed is going to be Alex Shelley since he's an upper mid card guy, and then we'll do Matt Taven against Alex Shelley. So now we have Zack Sabre, Eli Drake, TK O'Ryan, and Dalton Castle. So I'm going to go with Zack Sabre against TK O'Ryan. And we're going to put Eli Drake against Dalton Castle. Okay, so our 8-person tournament is set, and let me show you what we're working with here. I'll bring this over a little bit. There we go. So there you can see our tournament bracket field, whatever you want to call it. So we're gonna lead things off with Marty Skrull against David Finlay. That's gonna be our first match, and 15 minutes. I almost want to do like a 2 out of 3 falls, but I think I will save that for the final. That way we can run it a little bit longer. This is going to be an open match because we want them to look about the same. And Marty's going to win this one. Predetermined, sorry. Christian Cage is our road agent for this. Next match is Eli Drake and Dalton Castle. 13 minutes plus 2 minutes of non-wrestling time added gives us 15 minutes total, and we're gonna open match this one. I don't care who wins this match, so we're gonna keep it there, and there we go. And then next up is Zack Sabre and TK O'Ryan. Zack Sabre and TK O'Ryan. And we'll go same for this. Turn up the intensity. Lance Storm is going to road agent this one. This is going to be great. Decisive win. Don't care who wins it. And last but not least, Alex Shelley and Matt Taven. Alex Shelley versus Matt Taven. This one we are going to have Alex Shelley win, but we're going to keep it open. A decisive win. Okay, there we go. So there are our tournament matchups. See how that goes. Now we still have 60 to 65 minutes of time to fill. I want to get some of the tag division going here. We are gonna I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do a tag team triple threat match with the Briscoes, the Lucha Bros, and the Gorillas of Destiny. Those are going to be our 3 teams that you're probably going to see me roll with at the One Night Only pay-per-view. we will open this matchup and a decisive win. Titles aren't on the line. And we'll break up the tournament matchups with that match. We need a main event, as we are running out of time. So we'll do Eddie Edwards and Sami Callihan. Oops. It's not Sami Callihan. Alright, and that one we're going to stretch out a little bit since it's our main event. And we'll slow build it, decisive win. And Sammy's going to come out on top because I am putting the Impact Championship on the line. 35 minutes to fill. 30 minutes to fill, excuse me. Let's see here. We've got room for, what do we got? 2, 4, 6, 7 guys left. Alright, so we're going to go with Rich Swann and Shawn Spears in one of these matches. In a little quickie match here. They're going to go all out. And in another match, just to get the crowd going here, we're going to do Will Ospreay, TJP for the X Division Championship. And let's see, they're going to work the crowd, get them going here. And Will Ospreay is going to be the winner. And we'll slide this one up the card a little bit. And finally, we have a triple threat match, which actually worked out really well. Wasn't planning to pull this off, but I'll take it. Bully Ray, Jay Lethal, and Johnny Impact. I mean, I guess you could call this a number one contenders match since Bully Ray's going to be headed to the pay-per-view, wrestling for the championship. Alright, there we go. So there's our card for today's TV taping. Let's see how it plays out. We also have to keep in mind we've got these tournament matchups that we need to watch for as well. So Rich Swann, Shawn Spears, pretty decent match to get things started. Okay. Eli Drake, Dalton Castle. Eli Drake is our winner. So we'll move him forward into the tournament. He'll know his opponent later on tonight. Zack Sabre, TK O'Ryan. TK O'Ryan with the upset over Zack Sabre. They have great chemistry, so that is something to keep in mind. Lucha Bros, triple threat match. That might be the match of the show here with a B-. Alex Shelley and Matt Taven. We know Alex Shelley's winning that one. And we also know that Marty Scurll is set to win that matchup. Whoops. There we go. Alright, so you'll have Marty Scurll versus Eli Drake next week, and TK O'Ryan versus Alex Shelley next week as well. Will Ospreay defends his title over TJP, and Marty Scurll beats David Finlay, had an awkward bout. That's good information to have. Bully Ray, Jay Lethal, Johnny Impact. Who won? Bully Ray won that one because we scripted it that way. And Eddie Edwards lost to Sami Callihan in a great matchup. Another match of the night candidate. And that's going to finish up our show. C+ rating increased our popularity in 21 regions. So we are continuing to increase our popularity as the the show goes on, the show continues. We are a month in, and we have already consistently started increasing our popularity. This is a good thing. We'll keep an eye out for next week's TV taping. You'll see we already know we have 2 of these matches booked: Marty Scurll and Eli Drake, TK O'Ryan and Alex Shelley. Those are booked up and ready to go for the Grand Championship match. I'm thinking what we'll do is Grand Champion match. Whoever wins that, the following month at the following month's pay-per-view, they can have a World Championship match. I'm thinking that's how I'm gonna do it, and then we'll just vacate and do it all over again. Let's see. World Wonder Ring Stardom is losing their ass. This is a women's Japanese wrestling promotion. Not nearly the name power. There's a few in here that are pretty good. Bomber Saito also crosses over with Ice Ribbon. Kaylee Ray is another name, but beyond that, they're struggling. And if you look at their company, no TV, no pay-per-view, limited finances, the 42nd richest company overall, which puts them near the bottom. But I don't think they're in a position where we can buy them out, and they are not. So that's fine. Let's see, Michinoku Pro Wrestling, MPW, Taka Michinoku's gig there, or his father's gig, I should say. Lots of big-time names, a little bit on the older side with their talent. They've got some younger names, but no real young name recognition with their younger talent, with the exception of maybe Ishimori and Sanada and Kushida. But you've got guys like Ultimo Dragon, Great Sasuke. You've got the Brahmins, Kei and Shu. You've got Milano Collection, Dick Togo. So some pretty interesting names out there. No TV, no pay-per-view. Financially, they're stable. 28th richest company, but they lost their TV, so that's going to be something we're going to want to keep an eye on. And let's see what they had to say about us. Great, a lot of praise. 36, almost 3,700 fans at the Al McGuire Center, which I couldn't tell you where in the hell that is. And I'm from the Great Lakes region. No idea. Okay, email. I'm guessing Ice Ribbon, yep, rejected our agreement. Lucha Underground rejected our agreement. Phoenix is beat up. Bully Ray's beat up. Let's see. Fight Network, 0.28, so we kept the ratings the same. 0.35 on Spike in the UK, kept it the same. And we are up again on Pop with a 0.83 rating. So good stuff there. Ratings continuing to go up. We're seeing positive momentum. We are headed in a positive direction. We are 6 days away from our next TV taping. We are just shy of 2 weeks away from our next pay-per-view. And that'll be Sunday, week 3, here in August for the August one-night-only pay-per-view. We continue to sort of sort out our booking as we continue to move things along. I like the idea of long-term booking. The World Championship with Sammy and Johnny Impact. But I also like the idea of using Bully Ray to continue to get Sammy Callahan over. Our X Division is looking pretty good with guys like Rich Swann, Will Ospreay, TJP, Sean Spears, guys like that we're utilizing. We didn't use any of the women on TV, which is a rarity for me. I try to get the women on at least a match or two on all the TV tapings, so we'll get Tessa on, especially now that we're down to 2 matches in the tournament. We'll be able to get the women in there as well. And then the tag team division continuing to long-term book this with the Lucha Bros and the Briscoes and some of the other tag teams that we have available to us. You noticed the Killer Elite Squad wasn't on board, but that was because Lance Hoyt's on vacation. Bully and Phoenix, I hate to give them time off, but I need them ready for the pay-per-view. And I don't think I'm going to get it unless I give them a week off, which I could do. I could give Bully Ray a week off. He's not going to really be missed, I guess, for the most part. Help him rest up a little bit. Phoenix is the same. I can afford to give Phoenix time off, except he's on a paper appearance deal, so we'll have to fix that. I think Phoenix and Penta both are on paper appearance deals. Yeah, we're definitely gonna fix that. Holy cripes! This offer is prohibited by your working agreement with AAA. Oh, okay. So because they're also contracted with AAA, we can't we can't sign them to written deals. So I'm just not gonna use them on TV next week, and we'll go on. And I don't know if you guys are watching me while also simultaneously watching WWE Raw, but Cedric Alexander just beat Drew Galloway, Drew McIntyre, if you're a WWE fan, and that is wild. And I don't know what they're planning on doing with Drew McIntyre because he's already a heel. This would have been a perfect setup for a heel turn, but I don't know what the game plan is with that. But we are all set here. We've gotten through our TV taping week 1 of August, so we're going to wrap up our stream here. And we'll be back tomorrow with episode 7, and we'll take you up to our next TV taping. We'll also talk about the Impact knockout / women's championship match or title, and the title lineage with that as well. So with that being said, this is the mayor, Jason Smith. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.